This YCN segment is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Lake Sunapee in Newberry Harbor.
Welcome in, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, and this week with me is Dustin Ribellini. Dustin, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me back again.
Yeah, it's part of the rotation, and
right.
We'll get to the picks at the end, and that's always the fun part. Who can keep the challenge? Last week, Andrew was in here. He made some good picks. I think a couple weeks ago, somebody went 5-0. So you're
Wasn't
gonna
me.
be,
Wasn't me.
You're
But
going to be on the hot seat.
Hopefully this week.
But first, we'll talk about some basketball. Obviously, NBA kind of getting into full swing. I know it's still November, and people say these games don't matter, but for the Celtics, they are playing well. After dropping the first two games, they've won 9 in a row. I mean, you're a big Celtics fan. Just talk about the start that they've had, especially after the Hayward injury. It looked like it could be a bad season.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, 2 games into the season,
Yeah.
you lose Hayward 6 minutes into the season. You obviously lose to the Cavs, and you lose the next night to Milwaukee. It kind of looked like, and a lot of people were writing off the Celtics. I think the thing to realize is this Celtics team was built more than just Gordon Hayward. He's a great player. He's a great ball player. But we know Kyrie Irving is coming into the season was one of the better players in the league. Al Horford, who unfortunately, as we saw earlier today, concussion, going to be out tonight against the Lakers. Last year he missed 9 games with a concussion, so you just hope this doesn't linger and mess up with the flow of the team. But you watch this Celtics team, and I think where the credit, a lot of the credit goes is Brad Stevens.
Yes.
This guy is a phenomenal coach, and he just puts his guys in. It just seems like there's something different with this team. They find ways to win ball games, and 9 in a row, hopefully 10 tonight against the Lakers team that's kind of right around 500.
And you mentioned Brad Stevens and Kyrie Irving, both those two. We were wondering how they were going to work together. They were going to get along, but Irving doesn't play defense, and Stevens really good defensively. And he's made Irving a good defensive player, as we talked about. He's one of the. I think he's having his best defensive season of his career, really. I mean, I know it's hard to measure defense, and there's different metrics, but he's clearly shown that with the effort and the system that Stevens puts these guys in, you can succeed. And another big thing is their rebounding. And I know we followed the season a lot last year. They were not in position to rebound much. They didn't, you didn't have Horford was averaging, one of his career lows in rebounds. Now he's back up to his career high. That's been a big improvement also.
Yeah, rebounding and the defense across the board. Everybody was saying with losing Avery Bradley, losing Jay Crowder, that this defense was not going to be that good. And it's right now the number 1 scoring defense in the league. Kyrie Irving leads the NBA in steals per game, playing really good defense. And I think, and I'm not going to say to slight anybody from last year's team, but we knew that Isaiah Thomas on defense was a liability.
Right.
And I think what that caused was it made guys like Al Horford, everybody else kind of try to pick up the slack and put themselves in bad positions where they're normally not. Now this year with a guy like Kyrie Irving who can guard his man, keep him in front of you, it's letting the rest of the defense stay at home. And again, it goes back to Brad Stevens' emphasis on positionless basketball. Everybody can guard every other position, and he's putting guys in better positions to succeed because they don't have to cover. I'm not saying Isaiah Thomas is a bad player, but on defense, he really lacks the effort and the intensity that you need.
Right, and that was the big thing, and that's what we've seen now, like I said, with Irving. And so you talk about, obviously, the newcomer in Irving, and we talk Hayward missing the season, but Tatum and Brown, they just continue.
Boy, does Danny Ainge look good right now or what?
I know, and they continue to improve. It's not like, obviously they're going to go through growing pains, and through the middle of the season, late in the season, I'm sure there'll be some ups and downs, but it just seems like on a nightly basis, these guys, whether they're coming out with a new career high or a new career game or just a new great play, these guys, they don't look like a rookie and a sophomore at all.
No, they really don't. And when you watch Jayson Tatum play, he just looks so polished and so pure. A lot of people compare him to a young Paul Pierce, and I like the comparison. Again, it's 11 games into his career.
Right.
Let's hold off a little bit. But he never seems to let things get to him. The other night against Atlanta, the game got close. He hit probably the biggest shot of the game, a corner 3 to kind of seal the win. He's a pure scorer coming out of Duke, even though he's only 19 years old. He's mature beyond his years, and he's on a team. It helps to go to a team with good players.
Right.
A lot of these, Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball, they're on bad basketball teams. Although the Sixers are playing better
but they're young.
They're still young. There's going to be some growing pains there. Jayson Tatum has 2 or 3 guys that are all-stars, proven in this league, and he can lean on Gordon Hayward even though he's not on the floor.
Right, and that's true. And it looks like Gordon Hayward is going to start traveling with the team once he's able to do that. And he's already, getting in the gym practicing. As they had a picture shooting, sitting down. So tonight they play the Lakers. Lonzo Ball, his first trip to Boston, the team that he said he didn't want to get drafted by. What kind of reaction do you think he's going to get in the stands?
I think it's just going to be mixed. I mean, I don't look at this game and say he's going to get heavy boos like some of the players do. I mean, sure, he said he didn't want to play for Boston, and he's going to get booed anywhere because he's Lonzo Ball and his dad LeVar Ball. The Lakers, to me, 5-5. 7 of their 10 games have been at home. So they've had a pretty light schedule. I think the Celtics, even without Al Horford, should be able to extend the streak to 10 tonight.
Yeah, and the Lakers, I think they've won 3 out of their last 4. So coming into it looking good, but you're right. It's not really – it's one of those test games where it's your first game back home after a big 3-game road trip.
Yes.
And you can't have a letdown spot here in front of the home crowd. So we'll see what happens tonight, Celtics and Lakers. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some football. Patriots off their bye week, and they go to Denver for Sunday Night Football. We'll take a break. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.